Next on Columbus Neighborhoods, we look at the Linden area and celebrate the 100-year history of St. Stephen's. Then, a frank conversation about Linden's past and Linden's future. And we answer your questions on Curious C-Bus, this one about street names in North Linden.
Support for Columbus Neighborhoods is provided by...
At American Electric Power, we've been proud sponsors of WOSU Public Media for many years and strong supporters of our headquarters city here in Columbus, both downtown and in neighborhoods like yours.
State Auto Insurance Companies, transforming to become a digital provider of auto, home, and business insurance. And for nearly 100 years, committed to the people and neighborhoods of Central Ohio. State Auto. The Columbus Foundation. Smart philanthropy for a smart city. ColumbusFoundation.org. Bailey Cavalieri. Your relationship with your law firm doesn't need to be complicated, it just needs to be right. CODA. Keeps our community moving forward. Falgren Moortime Marketing and Communications. Think wider. Ohio Health focuses on you and your family with a mission to improve the health of our communities. Women in Philanthropy at Ohio State, changing lives by giving together. And by contributions from these and other Columbus area families who support WOSU. Thank you.
We're here in Linden Park in the heart of the community. Linden has certainly seen its highs and lows, but if you talk to any resident, they'll tell you pride runs deep on these streets. We're going to look at some of the challenges and bright spots today, and our first story is about St. Stephen's. The community house has helped individuals towards self-sufficiency with help in education, employment, housing, and childcare. Innovation in social programming has been the key, so in this story, find out how a fish farm has been the latest key initiative in the community.
A lot of immigrants came to this country in the late 1800s from Yugoslavia, also Hungary. In the south side where St. Stephen's began, there's a big German population, Italian population, Polish population. And this wave of immigrants came, they were recruited to work in the steel industry.
Bishop Hartley, who was the Bishop of Columbus at that time, decided that they needed a community center. So he bought an old theater building on Barthman Avenue. I think the address was 379 Barthman Avenue. It was put under the care of the Catholic Women's League.
Most settlement houses at the turn of the century offered citizenship classes, how to become U.S. citizens, cooking, sewing, physical activity for men.
Finances, landlords, rents, food accessibility. So if you can imagine coming over with your spouse and your kids and having no money, this was a community center that could connect you to the resources to help you find a sustainable wage.
Southside Settlement, which was also in the same neighborhood, the boards of both agencies got together and decided that they were duplicating services. And at that time, they decided probably the mid-60s that St. Stephen's would move to the Linden area.
Most people that lived in Linden were starting to move to the suburbs, and then that left people that were being challenged with housing challenges, work challenges.
The whole civil rights concerns and really discrimination that occurred in the 1960s against people of color. Linden had needs that the church could help serve.
Some of the needs that the Linden area is facing is access to food, stable housing, and workforce development. I think what we have seen more and more over the years is the working poor. We have a large number of families who are working and they still are not able to provide for their families on their own.
We have one of the highest infant mortality rates in the city, so our students are dealing with not only poverty, but a lot of crime, a lot of violence.
We don't have as many resources as other, neighborhoods. You get to where you see these youth, where you have a lot of the frustration and a lot of the lashing out and the anger that comes behind it, because they'll get frustrated because they'll either go to school with kids that have everything. They may have the latest shoes, or they have both parents in the household. It's like I said, it's just really the lack of not having and them being able to understand that you will have this eventually. You have to work at it. You have to be able to take control of these resources that you do have. A lot of people in the community don't even know a lot of the resources that St. Stephen's offer.
We offer a program called LINK, and it's funded through the county, and our program is an extension of school. Basically, all the children that come to camp lose a lot of information, a lot of knowledge over the summer. So it's a summer STEM camp where children come every day, Monday through Friday. They receive 2 meals. We do STEM-related activities, literacy activities.
Here's the research station where scientists and research workers come to and research about Antarctica. These pictures, we added them on so everybody can see how the lifestyle it is in Antarctica.
So I'm gonna just make the lines on here, and you'll probably just have to break it with your hands. So be careful. We're doing a project on geography, and so this group has focused on France. And so we're trying to build something that is in France, so we decided to do the Eiffel Tower. We learned about the history of France and the population, their culture with food and clothes and dancing. And then other groups did like Japan or Africa, so they focused on like Ethiopia and Africa.
We also have Project Aquastar. So once a week, each student will either go out to the farm. We've looked at the chickens this summer. We've looked at what is aquaponics, how does it work. A lot of it's just to talk about science and get them interested in science as possible careers.
We do aquaponics out here because it sort of is a growing system that reflects a lot of what we're trying to capture on the large scale. It's a closed loop, sustainable system that features a large fish tank that circulates through a growing bed where we've got plants that actually pull out the fish waste from the water. And then that clean water recirculates back into the fish tank, and you've got an environment that produces fish. We use it mostly for leafy greens and herbs. Through the summer, we hire kids from the neighborhood on site. In the school months, we do a lot of in-school education programs. We'll do everything from nutrition education to cooking classes to kind of conceptualization of whatever STEM techniques that they're learning in school now. So if they're learning about chemistry or learning about soil, learning about environment, we've got the narrative that relates directly to the farm. Linden is one of the most food insecure neighborhoods in Columbus, if not the most, where we've got no grocery stores in almost the entire neighborhood. And we're really working to develop a food infrastructure in Linden that exists outside of the traditional means. So empowering people to grow their own food, provide them with the resources and education they need to grow their own food, and then serve as kind of an open house for anything they might need in that process. And also a place where, of course, they can come get food if they need it.
The Food and Nutrition Center, we serve the Linden area in 8 zip codes. We are a choice pantry, so families are able to come in and choose what foods they like for dietary, religious purposes.
We get anywhere between like 20 and 50 households through here a day. Each delivery ranges from like 3,000 to 5,000 pounds. We get 2 of those a week, so anywhere between 6,000 and 10,000 pounds. The one that he's unloading right now is produce. The one that just pulled up is also from Mid-Ohio, but it is, I think, we purchased. Oh, cool, okay. These are assortments that I ordered, so I'm not exactly sure what they're gonna be. It looks like we've got hamburger. Do you want another can of green beans? Yeah. I think it's a right. Like, it's a right to have good, healthy food, and so many people here, not just here, but in the country, don't. I enjoy that aspect of it, that I can give people that, at least a little bit.
Here in Linden is the highest population of seniors right now in Franklin County. We have the 60 to 70, 75-year-olds. So they're what I would say the luckiest generation. These are seniors that have had jobs that continue to provide pensions. They are able to get Social Security. So these seniors are more looking for social activities, outings. Our senior population, the greatest generation, is our people from World War II, our veterans. They are our hardest generation to reach in the fact that that generation does not ask for help because most of them have been through the Depression. So we have a lot of seniors that are in their homes by themselves. Who takes them to the doctor when they don't have their license anymore? They can't drive, they can't see. If you don't have a car, you can't just go to the grocery store. And if you're on a walker or you're 95 years old, you can't just walk down to the local shop and get whatever, right? They're not as technologically advanced as the younger generation of seniors, 60 to 70, right? Everybody's got a cell phone. Most of my 70 to 100-year-olds don't have cell phones or access to computers or that type of thing, so they can't just order food to their house. So it's really housing, food stability, and transportation. We're working really hard as a community, and especially in Linden, but also as Franklin County all the way around.
Anybody can come to St. Stephen's. It is open to the community. In the early 2000s, we had a very strong program resettling new immigrants to Columbus, and those immigrants were Somali. So St. Stephen's was very heavily involved in helping the Somali community in Columbus develop and find a reception that was positive and supportive.
I was 18 and I was pregnant and I needed help. So I came here and they helped me with food, they helped me with Christmas, and I was able to go to OSU and I was able to graduate, and I credit St. Stephen's for helping me.
I think Linden sometimes gets a little overlooked because I think it's actually a pretty amazing community. There's such a sense of community and helping your neighbor here, and I think that's really beautiful. People just need a little bit extra help, I think, sometimes, and that's okay, and that's why we're here. But people also do a lot to help each other and help themselves.
No, he looks like a respectable young gentleman.
I am.
I know that's right. I know that's right, man.
Next, Linden's past and its future. Then, Curious C-Bus takes on curious street names. Linden used to be considered a good neighborhood, and some residents would argue that it still is. In fact, the city has earmarked Linden for its next redevelopment effort. Here now is a conversation about Linden's past and what issues might be lurking in the redesign of its future.
This is the Linden area. This is my area that I grew up in. When we were in elementary school, we used to stand out here on patrol. In other words, patrol, we would stand with a pole and let other kids and people across the street. Right there on that corner. Right there used to be where the crosstown professional offices are, used to be the hobby shop. So you can go in there and get all kinds of candy and these huge jawbreakers that we used to get and suck on for like 2 days before they would go down to the right size. And there was a cut in the fair fence. I don't know if I should be telling this. They never fixed it, so we always would sneak in the fair free. We used to have epic football games in this alley. This used to be one of the touchdown poles right there. This is now called Willie's Market. When I was in junior high school, they used to have the best coney dogs. Well, our principal that we used to have, Mr. Gill, if you got caught down here, he would come down here at lunchtime to round us all up. That was where I first started playing baseball. This house right here, they used to sell Christmas trees, but the Linden community was it was kind of a cool place to be back then. People kind of knew you and knew where your parents were and where you lived and things like that. It was a good time. We had a good time.
Yes.
How was it for you when you grew up here during your time?
It was the same way. I came here, I was born on a military base, Fort Knox, Kentucky. We landed here in Linden because my family was here. So I have lived on various streets in Linden, but when we came here, it was full of community and pride. Our grocery store was right here. Kroger's was still in Linden at that time. So it was, you didn't have to leave your community to go anywhere.
No.
I actually was baptized right here at Travelers Rest when I was 10 years old. What I have noticed about the churches is that they're not from the community anymore. Now everybody's commuting in. So that is the huge difference with the churches that I see. But I am very pleased at what the churches and the faith leaders are trying to do in Linden and band together and tie into some of the important initiatives going on, like the loss of Kroger's. The Concerned Linden clergy is bringing people to the table and say, what do we need to do? Linden has been a food desert forever. what can we do as faith leaders to make sure that there's access to food. So churches like New Salem, which is a little north of Hudson, but they are saying, hey, let's talk to the Linden churches in South Linden, and we all adopt a neighborhood 10 blocks to the left of our communities. So they're trying, they are stepping up to the plate, and I'm proud to say that.
Do you still have the same issues between North Linden and South Linden?
Honestly, it's economically. There's a higher middle and high class in North Linden. So they don't suffer from the same issues that we do in South Linden when there's more low-income single-family homes. That increases the stress, that increases the crime, that increases the individuals who have time to take care of their lawns and be focused on their children when you only have one mother in the home doing all of that. So I think that is the difference in those two areas. You don't think like I think. You don't keep your grass cut. You know, you're not watching your children. So those things create a difference between us.
It's a different Linden now.
Definitely.
Than when I was growing up, when you were growing up. A little bit more issue of crime and different things like that.
One thing that we are doing better as a community is we're stopped working in silos. Everybody's doing their own thing to combat the same problem, to get to the same common goal. So, for example, the city has brought the CARE Coalition to Linden. There's a pilot going in Linden where when there's a violent crime, members from social workers from Columbus Public Health, the Safe Streets team, and members of the community go out and they do a canvas around that community to see how are you doing, how are you handling this, and what can we do to support you. Bringing more individuals together that care about this community. It is diverse. I remember when I lived here, to see someone who didn't look like me, who didn't have skin like mine, you would knew that they were not from this community because you were not my neighbor. Now it is diverse. There's Somali, Nepali, so that is a huge difference. And what that can do is break community as we continue to work in different silos with cultural beliefs. So I think one thing that we must do, or the city must do, is to make sure that there are ways that we engage each other no matter the cultural differences. Create opportunities for us to come and engage and break bread with each other and find out what we have in common versus what we have different.
One of the things I always think about personally is going away to school and then not coming back into the community, you know, and reinvesting in the community. So there were several of us who did that. Mm-hmm. What keeps me coming back probably is my mother.
Most certainly his mom.
What would you say to us? And be frank, what would you say to us? What do we need to do?
So this is something that I've struggled with a lot. A part of me understands it, that you want to elevate from where you were at, but I think it's important for you and me and those individuals to come back into this community and talk to our youth. Because right now, they can't be anything than what they see. And the violence, the crime, the drug dealers, they have a bigger voice than us. And they shouldn't. So being involved in the activities that are happening in this community, I think, are our responsibility, because we have to know whose shoulders we stand on. And this community built us. It's the reason why we're resilient. It's the reason why we have a drive for success. And we can't just turn away from that and say, I'm separating myself from this. If all the individuals that graduated from Linden, that are on the walls of Linden, poured into this community, it would be a different community. The city wouldn't have to come in and fix our community because we will already be here doing the work. They could just plug in. So I say, come back, find out where you can get active. And I think a huge part starts with our youth. If we can wrap our hands around them and create more Georges, create more Ernie Sullivans, then we are doing something good. We're doing something good. That's my charge. Okay. Come back.
Okay.
Come back, not just to see mom.
Right.
Plug into what's going on.
Okay. We decided to visit J Hot Fish with over 10 different kinds of fish, hush puppies, coleslaw, green beans, and banana pudding. The hot in J Hot means a piping hot meal, not too spicy. I have a question. Yes, what drives you? What drives you? Where does the passion come from for what you do?
I think, like I said, I was baptized at Travelers Rest right here in this community. I had my first job at the McDonald's that is no longer here. My children, my grandmother, my mother, they're all right here in this community. So what happens here, whether it's little or a lot, immediately impacts the people that I love. I feel safe in the same community that people are scared to even drive through. There's a passion there. There's a commitment to this community, and that's what's driving me. I cannot put the responsibility of my community in the city's hands. I have to be responsible for it.
So you mentioned infant mortality. It's pretty high in this area.
Yes, sir.
Your opinion about that? Housing, affordability. You kind of spoke to that.
Mm-hmm.
How does that play into the whole infant mortality issue?
Quality affordable housing. Because we have some affordable housing in Linden, but it's not of quality. We have mothers living in houses with leaky roofs, six children in a 2-bedroom apartment. So quality housing, if you don't have a place to lay your head, you can't focus in on getting to the doctors on time. You can't focus on getting to your employer on time. So that stress factor plays a huge part in our infant mortality rate. When a mom is stressed, her body takes that score before, during, and after pregnancy. So our goal is to have stress-free moms in the community, which will lead to reducing that infant mortality rate. So as we look at transforming Linden, we have to make sure that there is space for these moms and their children where they can live in affordable, quality housing and not worry about where they're going to lay their heads.
So are you having success in that area?
We are having some true success. Linden was a part of Celebrate One's neighborhood intervention program where they came in and said, okay, sat down with the residents and said, why do you think babies are dying in this community? It led to the development of a neighborhood intervention that was very successful, where over 1,400 residents plugged in to work towards reducing infant mortality, and we have now taken that initiative one step further, and we're going to scale it up to Morris Road 161 and 43219. And that's a great space because those communities neighbor Linden. When something happens in this community, it generally impacts them. And closing of Kroger's, it not only impacted Linden, but it impacted residents in the Northeast and that Morris Road 161 area. So I think as we think about merging North Linden and South Linden, we need to think about merging this whole north side of Columbus. So I'm excited that we're scaling up what we did here in Linden into this whole north side.
Zelina, I want to thank you again for taking time to speak with us.
Yes, sir.
And I want to let you know that I appreciate you and appreciate your efforts for what you're doing for the community in which you and I both come out of. I hope that the people will get behind you and help you and support your efforts. And we'll see a new Linden. We'll see a new Linden even yet again.
Yes.
Street names are always an interesting peek into the past. Some developers name streets after their children, and some are named after city leaders. A few in Clintonville are named after Norse mythology, like Walhalla Drive. Linden has its own street name mystery, and WOSU's Michael DeBonis is on the case.
Curious CBus is WOSU's project where you submit your questions about our region, its people, or its history, and we assign a reporter or producer to investigate it. Today's question takes us to North Linden. If you've ever driven through the neighborhood on Cleveland Avenue, you may have noticed that after you drive past Melrose Avenue, you'll pass another Melrose Avenue less than 2 miles later. That led Eddie Kinnaman to write in and ask, why are there two different streets in the North Linden area called Melrose Avenue? We get a lot of questions about the origins of street names, and it's not always easy to get a definitive answer. But one of the first places we check in with is the Franklin County Engineer's Office. Part of the work they do is to archive the historical land surveys and documents that track roadways and property boundaries. According to their records, the subdivisions that contain both roads were approved in 1910, just a couple days apart. The main difference between the two, and a likely part of the reason why we have two Melrose Avenues so close together, is that one was accepted as an addition to the city of Columbus, and the other was accepted as part of Clinton Township. The more northern Melrose is part of Clinton Township. So there you have it. Although both streets are in the North Linden neighborhood, one is in Columbus and the other is in Clinton Township. Not confusing at all, right? To learn more about the history of Clinton Township, you can head over to wosu.org/curious. While you're there, you can submit your idea for a Curious CBus question, vote on which question we should investigate next, and see what else we've covered so far.
Thanks for being with us. And remember, you can catch all of our episodes on columbusneighborhoods.org. Plus, see our stories on the WOSU mobile app. And you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll see you back here next week on Columbus Neighborhoods.
People come and they go. Friends, you know they don't stay the same. It's hard to face the crowd.
Support for Columbus Neighborhoods is provided by
At American Electric Power, we've been proud sponsors of WOSU Public Media for many years and strong supporters of our headquarters city here in Columbus, both downtown and in neighborhoods like yours.
State Auto Insurance Companies, transforming to become a digital provider of auto, home, and business insurance. And for nearly 100 years, committed to the people and neighborhoods of Central Ohio. State Auto. The Columbus Foundation. Smart philanthropy for a smart city. ColumbusFoundation.org. Bailey Cavalieri. Your relationship with your law firm doesn't need to be complicated. It just needs to be right. CODA. Keeps our community moving forward. Falgren Moortine Marketing and Communications. Think wider. Ohio Health focuses on you and your family with a mission to improve the health of our communities. Women in Philanthropy at Ohio State, changing lives by giving together. And by contributions from these and other Columbus area families who support WOSU. Thank you.